Hey, my name's Leslie Paziak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I was really thinking about a time in my life when Jim, Jack, and the occasional Jose Cuervo were really quite close to me. And they were a very intricate part of my life. And that is exactly what I want to talk about in this video because it got pretty serious for me for a few years. And I know that a lot of other people struggle with addictive tendencies with alcohol and even the recreational drugs as well. The not so good recreational drugs, prescription drugs. And there are times when, we're taking antidepressants. And I just want to give a little bit of insight into my own story and hopefully inspire others to do the same. And without getting too much into my own story, there was a reason for me personally that had really nothing to do with alcohol per se. It was why I was consuming the alcohol and using NyQuil to go to sleep at night and Tylenol PMs. That was my go-to to really calm down enough so that I could function, so that I could sleep, and that there came a point in time in my life that was separate from it. I mean, well, it was the cause. It was those emotions that those substances were keeping at bay that I want to talk about. And it was, if you want to know more about my story, there's a video, I'll link it in the description below. But I kind of melted down. Not kind of, I actually really did. And I realized when I was going through the process of really bringing my life back together, that those things they're not a part of my life anymore, like they were before. There can be the occasional glass of wine or an occasional margarita, or Jack and Jim really kind of left my life, but they served their purpose for a little while, and I think that a lot of people are here. And what I did, what happened for me was, it was like a life and death kind of thing. It was survival. It was for me to figure out a way to really regain back who I was, or who I am. It was actually about gaining who I was, really trying to figure it out. And one of the things that I realized that why I was doing this is because I had no sense of self. And I'm not even sure if anybody can really relate to this, but I hope so. Because what I learned is when those feelings that I was repressing, they were those that I found out later that when I processed them in the proper way, when I really looked from the inside, when I was developing, I went through a time where I had to reconstruct my life. And when I went through this, I realized that I wasn't living true to me. I wasn't living who I was. And the alcohol and the other things that were helping me suppress them, it was like a trash compactor kind of effect. You just keep smashing them down, covering them up. And when I went through this I want to call it like a self-discovery, when I really looked inside of myself and decided, who am I? Why am I even here? And it was at a point in my life when I was really struggling and deciding, do I even want to be here? What was the point and the purpose? Because I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't happy. I was, struggling with a lot of different things. And I feel like I had the reset button hit on my life, and which was really the best thing that ever happened to me. It was a hard, difficult time. And the reason for this video is so that other people don't get to the point where I was, so that they can catch it early, right? And it was God who hit the reset button on my life. And I'm not saying that, I'm this religious born again Christian. That's not it at all. What it is I learned who I was on the inside. And once I learned who I was on the inside, once I let me be me, right? And I've dealt with those emotions, not from past experiences. I didn't relive that because I realized you can't change that. But as I started moving forward in my life and I started rebuilding and really paid attention, so much, very, very close attention to who I was and what my body was telling me, not my mind, because I had to, thank God, literally, it was kind of just wiped out for quite some time. I didn't remember a lot of things, and all I had to go on was what I was feeling, right? What was going on inside of me. And I think that was a blessing, because as I started moving forward and rebuilding my life, I had the opportunity to feel my way. And it's not only with emotions, because there was a time when I cut those off, right? But it was what my body was telling me. Physically, it was talking to me. And I'm certain that anybody watching this video knows what I mean. It's that tense in your shoulders. It's the headache in the back of your head. It's the uncomfortable. It's the feelings of shame or guilt or withdrawal, right? I mean, when I started looking at those feelings and really, trying to figure out how and why they were there, made a huge difference. And most of the time, before I wouldn't even acknowledge them. I would use these substances like alcohol and Tylenol, and I've never done drugs because I was always afraid of them. So pot, weed, and all that stuff, that's just not my thing. But I did drink quite a bit. In fact, if I could have put red wine in an IV drip, I would have probably pulled that pole with much pride around with me just to keep it, an even kill. But what I learned was I was doing that to stay in the environments, to not rock my environments, to not cause friction, because I was trying to make everybody else around me happy, right? I was trying to make everybody else happy and do what was expected of me. But here's what I learned from it all. When I was doing that, nobody was happy, especially me. And I was the one that was most important, and I realize that now. And so if you're in any of this, if you can relate to any of this, I just want to tell you right here and now, is that by doing this, not only are you denying your precious self the knowledge and the ability to live your truth sober and happily, you're denying other people of things that they also need to learn about themselves. Because what happens is, for me, people would hurt me, they'd hurt my feelings, they'd disappoint me, or I would do it to myself. And that's why I would drink. That's why I would I'd have so much anxiety and so much, it's hyperactive depression or something. I was depressed, but I was a functional depressed person. And I know some of it, they say it could be chemical or relative, inherited. I think that the inherited aspect of it for me was they were tendencies that I learned. I don't think it was, I think it became a biological, chemical portion of my brain only because of these situations that I was living in, when there's certain patterns and behaviors of the people that surround you that that creates the chemicals in your mind. And that's where I think that the biological, people think, oh, I inherited it. Well, we inherited the behavior that caused the chemical reaction in our brains, because it doesn't happen to everybody in the family, right? It doesn't always happen to everybody, but sometimes we can take that on because, our families that we grow up in are our examples of what life is supposed to be about. And when we don't learn that we have this ability and this responsibility to take those experiences, later on in life sometimes, or even to just be able to teach our children now. And it would have been nice then, but that's not how it went. So there's no point in holding grudges against other people, because that's just not going to serve you or anybody else, right? But when we take those experiences when we're older, or as we start to mature, and we really look within ourselves and say, how does this fit? If it's uncomfortable, why is it uncomfortable? Look at the feeling. Is it shame? Is it blame? Is it fear? What is it? Is it embarrassment? Is there something in your behavior that was wrong, that goes against your morals and values, right? I can think of if you were dishonest about something, or you stole something, or you treated somebody disrespectfully. Those carry certain feelings within us that when we process them correctly, then we're able to rectify that. We were given opportunities to rectify that. And that's what I did. When things would come up, you don't go dig up those dead bodies. You just leave them buried, right? Your past, leave those bones in the past. But if there's something that comes up in the future, memories or what have you that are just weighing heavy on you, we have the opportunity to rectify those by forgiving ourselves for the behavior or the action that really wasn't serving us. And then, that's how we take responsibility for ourselves. And then from there, if possible, go to that person and apologize. Now, when I talk about apologizing and asking for forgiveness, I'm not saying give them your excuses and tell them why you did it or anything else. I'm just saying admit that the behavior that you had was that you realized that it wasn't right. And I don't care if it was 10 years later or 20 years. Just apologize. Because what that does for you is that you're admitting to a behavior or a personality trait or a characteristic about you that's not serving you, that you're now correcting. And by admitting to yourself, "Ooh, that wasn't right," you're planting the seed for change, right? Because when you plant that seed for change and you correct that, there's a lot of other little things. When your mind goes, when you think about it, and your mind just starts spinning down that little rabbit hole and of Alice in Wonderland into just horrible places and other things, and it just keeps adding on top of it. But if you don't go down that rabbit hole, right, you realize this is something that you are going to make amends. Whether it's something you've done to another person or that another person did to you. When you internally, not externally, but internally, based on your foundations of who you are and what you want to represent in your lifetime, friends, life changes. When you make those shifts and those changes within yourself, all those things that would have come up before in your mind, right? They start falling away like dominoes because you finally put that emotion in the right place, or you healed that wound, or that you healed that experience. And what happens is it sets you free. It sets you free. Whether the other person forgives you or not, that's not the point. The point is that you admitted this to yourself. You've planted a seed of change that going forward, this is what I refer to as healing forward. You're healing forward because you're saying to yourself, this is something that I am recognized about myself, that I did this or somebody did this to me, and I'm going to forgive myself for carrying that burden, and I'm going to rectify it. Now, what if it's the other person that did something to you, right? And that's a different story. That's this. Now let's talk about when somebody does something that hurts you. If we look at everything, right? If we look at when we're lied to, when we lie, when we steal, when we cheat, when we're dishonest with other people, right? We have that feeling. If you look at it from a perspective of somebody else's actions towards you, and we can, when we start to do this process, you can really look inside yourself and say, this is what I was feeling when I was in that position, right? I was feeling whatever you were feeling, embarrassment, shame, whatever it was, right? This is flipping it, because we all do the same. We all have the same tendencies and behaviors, but we get really angry with other people when they're dishonest with us. But what about when we do it back, right? What happens when our behavior is that way? We make excuses for ourselves. At least I did. But I was out to please everybody, so, I would tell people what I thought they wanted to hear, and I thought that was the reality. I thought what other people wanted and needed was the reality, because I didn't have a sense of self. I didn't know who I was. I was expecting my outer environment, which most of us do, to dictate and to tell us who we are. And when we're doing it in this environment for long periods of time, when we carry these tendencies with us throughout our lifetime, we attract more of that into our life, and we end up not happy. Does this mean that you have to, throw everybody out of your ship? No. But, you can rock your boat a little bit. Just don't capsize it, because that's not good, right? That's not a good resolution. But you can rock your boat a little bit, kind of make a few waves within yourself. Because when you start changing within you, the things around you that no longer fit with you will start to go away. And the things that are for you will start coming into your life. So there'll be this shift in your environments. There'll be a shift in your life. All because there was this shift within yourself, this change within you. And this is really such a beautiful thing. Do you let go of these people that hurt? There's people that continually have this repeated pattern and we have to take responsibility. I had to take responsibility. I allowed that. Unconsciously, I allowed it. So am I going to get really pissed off and angry at them? No. I'm going to hold myself accountable and say, I've been allowing this, and I really don't want it anymore. So I'm going to have a conversation with them. I had a conversation with them, and I would tell them, this is what I'm aware of. Is the other person going to handle it? Well, probably not, because to them, that's their normal. And understanding that is really crucial. And if you choose to have a conversation because you want to keep this person in your life, try it. But if they don't stay in your life, it's not because, one of the key things that I think is really important when you go through this, I call it to know thyself. When you go through this healing process, I want you to look at it. I looked at it as, what a beautiful gift I'm giving myself. I'm giving myself the permission to be me. I'm giving myself the permission to bring toward me, I call it selfishly selfless. I'm selfishly choosing what's inside of me to represent me, my authentic self, my values, my morals, my standards of what I want in life and what I want around me. And when you and sometimes these changes, when you make them in your life, they're pretty big. But I want to really say that if you start to do this work, one of the things is you have to be really cautious, because you might push out something that really didn't need to be out. So when you go through this process, you just, people will mention things or you'll sense stuff. And all you have to do is say, I'm kind of going through some inner stuff. I'm really working within myself right now. And just tell people tell them that, right now you're working on some stuff. You don't have to get really intense in your explanation. You don't have to give them an explanation. But if something comes up and somebody, starts questioning, that, things are changing, just say, or what are you doing, or what's going on with you? Just say, I'm really working hard to make some positive changes within me. And I'm trying to feel this out. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I'm trying to love myself. I'm trying to love myself more. I'm trying to be me. I'm trying to figure out who I am. Why am I here? What's this life all about? And most people, the people that are going to stay and that are going to, support you, they're going to be there and they're going to support you. Other people, they're not going to be there. And I'm going to tell you, most people, depending on where you are, don't be surprised if most people that are in your life start to move out. And there's going to be this space, because you're used to people being there, right? But there's going to be this space opening up inside of you. And at first, for me, it felt lonely. And it felt like I wasn't used to it, right? I wasn't used to that feeling of not having so many people around me, and so many people to do things for, right? Or just to do things just because it was something to do. But it's not a lonely feeling. It's a clean feeling. It's a feeling that you just have to kind of embrace. You kind of have to get used to that space, because that's where all this stuff is coming out. And when you've been used to it for so long, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. It is. But you get used to it, because when you clear out that space, it's like buying a new home, right? Imagine buying a brand new, huge house, and you left all your old furniture behind, because now you're going to decorate your house with things that you want, the things that bring you pleasure, with things that add value to you. And go shop. Go shop and go out into the world and look for things that you like. Look for things that make you feel good. And do those things. Try them out. Learn different hobbies, different activities, Try something that you've never done before. I have finished basements, yes, by myself, ran electrical wire. I've reupholstered chairs and little, blanket, footrests, like cabinet type footrest things that look like a coffee table, but you put stuff in it like I can't even think of it. Like a chest, right? I've refinished old furniture, and refinished it. I've painted stuff, right? I've done all kinds of little things. I got into art, the liberal arts. I love the theater. I love musicals and music and the ballet and, cultural things that I was never exposed to my entire life. Never. But I just tried new things and I love it. And I think, have these desires. One of my really great things I want to try to do is pottery. I think it looks fun, right? It looks fun to play in clay and start, creating stuff like that. I think that would be so much fun. That's one thing that has been on my mind for probably about 10 years I've wanted to do. I think it'd be fun to sit there and have that thing spin in front of me and, get all messy and playing clay. I think that would be really, really a fun thing to do. Would it stick with me? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what, maybe it will. I've done quilting, I've done needlepoint, I've done, all kinds of different stuff. Yard work, landscaping. It does, try new things. Explore who you are. And don't say no to something because you just don't feel it. Try it. Painting. I didn't think I couldn't draw a stick person, but I can paint. I don't know how. But you'd be surprised at those hidden gifts and talents that are within you. And the more you do this, the more you explore yourself, the more you feel your feelings, the more that you really understand what it is you're feeling, the less you are going to want to smash them down, the less you're going to want to cover them up, because the feelings that you are trying to mask or trying to avoid, those aren't the feelings that are going to come out. The feelings that you're going to start bringing out from here, from the inside, are your true feelings. The feelings of joy, the feelings of enthusiasm, the feelings of bliss, the feeling of peace, the feeling of harmony. You're going to find a balance. And are there going to be challenges? Yeah, but you know what? That's part of life. That's how we grow. But the challenges won't be painful. They'll be fun. They give you something to think about, something to concentrate, something to aim for. It's like a goal, right? But you're not going to want to hide and smash those feelings. You're not going to want to cover them up. You're not going to want to drink so that you don't have to feel anymore. And let me tell you one thing. This process of getting to know yourself on the inside and all that forgiveness to yourself and to others, when you start to really do that inner work, my friend, these are the most beautiful gifts that you could ever give yourself. And I would drink and do NyQuil to sleep and just like sleep so that I didn't have to feel them. And if I would have known then what I know now at 57, if I'd have known that when I was in my 30s, 40s, how much better? Well, really not my 40s, because I went through really challenging. I went through my life, my reset button when I was 40. So my 40s were, my 40s I spent exploring who I was. To me, my 40s were my new 20s, and it was a really good time for me. When I look back, I think I got to really know who I was, and I got to release a lot of stuff that I was holding myself accountable for that was not mine. And I gotta forgive myself for things that were mine, that I learned from, that I learned about who I was. Most of us aren't honest with ourselves, because we're not honest within our life because we're afraid of what other people will think, and we're afraid that other people will reject us. But here's the key, and here's the secret. You, my beautiful soulful friend, my beautiful friend, I guess I should say, are a soul. And this is really critical and very, very important work that needs to be done while you're here. While you're here. And start today. Why? Because you are a soul. First and foremost, you are a soul. And you came here with a purpose and a mission. And your purpose is more than likely has a lot to do with those emotions that you're pressing down, because this is the opportunity for you to create that positive change your soul came here to make. We're all souls on a soul mission. You know, Christians call it we're born with original sin, right? We're born with original sin. But that original sin is just behaviors and tendencies that we are going to, or something that within ourselves, or for us to really figure out who we are, right? It's when we feel that something's wrong and goes against inside of us that we make that change within us and on the outside, living from the inside out. Our inside dictates our actions, right? That foundation of who we are will dictate those actions. And that's how we change, and that's how we accomplish the original sin. And when we have interactions with others, when there's conflict, and those emotions that you're hiding, you're stuffing down, when we really process those properly, you grow. You grow. You learn who you are through those emotions that you're smashing down. And those emotions and those things, those nuggets of beautiful knowledge that you learn about you, those are golden. They're golden. Those are gifts. This is you saying, I love myself so much, and I love you too. And I've learned this about me from you. And you get to the point where you thank that other person. Because if say you're in a relationship that you're just sliding by, or you're just grinning and bearing it, right? But you're not being you. You can't grow you can't grow from the outside in. You have to grow from the inside out. Our experiences in life, what happens around us, that is to help us define who we are, so that when we make those choices and decisions as we're moving forward, when the next experience that comes up like that, we know, and then we can think it. When you start this journey of living from the inside out, you can't stop. You will never be able to stop because it's too much fun. It's fun. And you're going to learn more about you, and you're going to learn more about others, and you're going to learn about the world around you, and you're going to make personal preferences, and you're going to, and is it challenging? Is it hard sometimes to live a life of honesty and integrity? Nope. Not anymore. Because you are going to be full of pride. You're going to have so much pride for yourself. You are going to love yourself so much that those really great emotions are just going to start bubbling up in you, and you are not going to you're not going to want to repress those. You're not going to want to repress them. You're not going to want to take recreational drugs to feel that euphoric high, right? Because you're going to be feeling it all the time. Drugs bring you up. Alcohol is a depressant, brings you down. So when you're looking for that euphoric high, it's already there, because when you live your authentic truth on the inside, that's a given. That's what you're looking for. That's what we're all looking for. But you can't find it in an antidepressant. You can't find it in recreational drugs. You can't find it in prescription drugs. You can't find it in illegal drugs. You can find something that might mimic it for a short time. But imagine living your entire life so high on life because of those beautiful feelings organically coming from inside of you. You're not going to want that. You're not ever going to want it again. Will you have an occasional drink or a glass of wine? Sure. But it won't be an everyday thing. Trust me, it won't be an everyday thing. Because when you do it when you drink or you do any of that stuff, it suppresses. Right? That's why you do it in the first place. It suppresses those emotions. But you're going to want to feel those real, authentic, beautiful emotions that come from the inside of you. So you're not going to really want it. It's not going to make you feel good because you already feel good. And let me tell you, my friends, this works. It is a guarantee that if you live from the inside of you out, guaranteed to work. All of it will go away. And now I want to give you a little bit of homework to see if I'm right. I want you to just sit really quietly, close your eyes, and I want you to ask yourself, if what Leslie's saying is true, show me something. A butterfly, a button, a tattoo, a snow shovel, whatever it is. Something simple. Don't make it too outrageous. Just ask him to show you something unusual. And when you see it, you'll know. And then, to get an immediate answer, just say to yourself, Holy Divine, Creator of heaven and earth, if what Leslie is telling us is true, let me feel you. Let me feel you. And when you get this inside of you, this rush, this tingle that runs throughout your body, you know that sensation. It's almost like it's almost like an orgasm, right? It feels like that. It's a tingly, it's a sensation, it's a happiness. It's a vibration in your whole entire body that makes that way you know that you're connected to your higher power. And when you form that relation, when all this takes place, here's the greatest part. When all this takes place and you start living your truth and you're happy, because you have a specific purpose to fulfill in this lifetime that is so important to your soul's growth and the expansion of humanity, that they will start to guide you through it. And here's another little secret. We cannot achieve our soulful purpose here on this earth without the guidance of the Holy Divine. We can keep recycling our soul through here, through this lifetime. But if you are done living a life of confusion, of suffering, of substance abuse, or having to take antidepressants, or having that, if you're done with living numb, I invite you to start living from the inside out. Because once you begin, you are going to be so in love with life and love with yourself that you're never going to look. The only time you look back is on your little rearview mirror. You're just going to glance up and see how far you've come. But my friends, that windshield is so wide. And all it tells you is look at all your possibilities, my friends. Look at all your possibilities. And you're going to do it with happiness, with authenticity, with joy. But one thing that's really important is the key. The real key from that inner work in your relationship with others. There's two parts to it. When you're authentically you, genuinely you, and you make your choices and decisions from a place of inner peace and harmony, outer balance. When you have inner peace and harmony, you have outer balance in your life. That means that you're not going to blame, you're not going to shame yourself or others. That you're going to find peace through forgiveness, by means of unconditional love and limitless compassion for yourself and them, knowing you're going to make mistakes. But by this process, you're going to make less, because you're going to accept who you are. And you're going to be able to have compassion and understanding for other people, because you're going to know that they are on their own path too. You know, life right now is, there's 6 generations living on this beautiful earth. And there's a lot of stuff happening around the world to show that this is a very spiritual time. And the other day I heard one of our people, actually in the government, admitting, he said it out loud, these are spiritual times. And I know people are tired of hearing him. He said, I know people are tired of hearing me talk about this, but it's it. We're in spiritual times. I said this 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And I knew it 8. This knowledge comes to you from the Holy Divine. And you will start to see truly why your beautiful self is here. You will start loving and forgiving yourself like you should. You will start learning who you are. You're going to forgive yourself. You're going to forgive others. You're going to cry tears of joy. You're going to get rid of all those substances that are toxic for that beautiful body, because you can't feel your guidance. You can't feel your inner bliss if there's alcohol or other substances in your body numbing it. You know, they say we got to feel it to heal it, right? Which is true. But it's not feel it to heal it, feel the pain. Look back and feel that remorse and go through all that stuff again. Hell no. If you can't change, you can't make it change. If you can't take an eraser and erase it and write the right answer, don't look back. Don't look back. Because when you start to move forward, and you're going to start paying attention to what your body's telling you, not your mind. Because remember, we're creative individuals. We are here to create something unique and special to us. That's beautiful, that adds to our soul, that adds to us. Our human creation adds value to our soul. But our human creation adds value to us as a person. But then it contributes to humanity, which is how we grow our soul. Right? It's how we grow our soul. But when you start doing this, it's fun. And I hope you can see what I'm saying, because it's magic. It's magical. And here's something that I realized today. You know, we sit and we want certain things, and I've struggled with this manifestation stuff, right? So much so I've spent countless days just sobbing because I couldn't get it. But I realized I'm and they've, you get these little messages and it's like you got to go with the flow. You got to go with the flow. You can't push things. You can't make things happen, right? You have to go with the flow. You have to feel your way in harmony, in peace on the inside. You have to live a balanced outer life in order to make this all work. And here's what manifestation's all about. We always get, we always have anxieties and depression because we want something so much, right? But fear. I've wanted something so much. Fear has kept me from it. And here's something really interesting that I learned, okay? What I was fearing was not being able to grasp or achieve or have what it is in the future that I want, right? Because I was looking at the past. I wanted things in the past, right, that never came to me. And I think this is where God's greatest gift is unanswered prayers comes into play. But when you know who you are on the inside and you're living authentically from your soul purpose, from the foundation of who you really are, and when you feel those feelings of desire, of love, of passion, of euphoria and excitement, and then you start having these creative thoughts and you start to visualize what it's going to be like, that's the divine showing you what's possible. And that's why they ask us to have faith. Because anything is possible, right? That's why we're able to manifest. We're able to manifest because it comes from in here. The things that manifest in our lives are coming from within. That's coming from our personal truth. That means that we are creating this for the good. Right? We're creating it from our heart, from our soul, from pure desire, from pureness, from wholeness. So how can we not have that? How can we not have that? If we have faith and trust, right? And we have this relationship with divine guiding us, and all we have to do is feel our way, trust that they're guiding us, and we're doing it from here. You see, we tell them what we want and they show us how to get it. But they can't show us if we can't feel our way. We have to feel the feeling. Not imagine, not conjure some vision in our brain like I did in the past. I had this, I envisioned things, or I thought things, right? But I didn't feel them. I wanted them. And I wanted them because I was lacking. Right? You can't create from lack. You can't create what's really truly for you from a place of lack, of not having it. Right? But when you are really happy, and you're living your life for you, about you, because of you, and you're having these really great feelings, and you're going along with those feelings and you're happy and everything, then all of a sudden you start feeling, ooh, I want this and I want that, and you start following the path of your desires with love and not selfishness, but just on your own, just you're on your own journey. You're letting people be them and you be you, and learning from those experiences, and making compromises when you have to. We're still gonna have challenges. But when you hold yourself accountable for you and your happiness, and you let other people do the same thing, and you let them be them, and you get to be you, and you realize their actions do not have anything to do with you, and your actions don't have anything to do with them, you take full responsibility for every part of who you are, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. If you follow that inside, right? When you follow that inside. So it's okay to trust the unknown, because the unknown is being guided. That's why we get to have that guidance. It's trusting in the unknown, because it's coming from a place of authenticity. It's coming from a place, an emotional place of joy, bliss, happiness, balance, harmony. And you're going where you wanted to go. You're creating what you wanted to create. And it took a long time for me to get here. It did. It took me a long time. But those people that, we build these codependent relationships with, and you do this for me, and I do that for you, and we keep score and stuff. Not anymore. You're going to just give to people to give. You're going to love people just to love them. You're going to appreciate people for being a jerk, because it showed you inside something you don't want. Those feelings, those negative feelings of, ooh, yeah, let's solidify them. That's a gift. To solidify who you know you are. And as you go forward, you're going to remember that. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's not my values. That's not my principles. I choose to be honest. I choose to be fair. I choose to stand up for what I believe. I don't talk about other people because I don't like to be talked about. I lift people up because I know that I have been in places where I needed to be lifted up. Same place? Probably not. But that's not the point. The point is that somebody has a need, and if you feel compelled or have a compassion to help them, help them. But if somebody asks you for help and you don't want to help them, don't help them, because you're going to expect something from them, because you're not living your authentic self. It's all about, living authentically, living your true values, your true morals. And I'm telling you, when you do this, they're the greatest steps you'll ever take. The greatest steps you are ever going to take in your life is inside. And when you are guided by your holy divine, and I'm not saying you have to go to church, I'm not saying you have to be religious, I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm saying you have to be you. You just have to be you. If you find, that you want to have God in your life in a religious fashion, great. If you find God in here and you just want to have this relationship with God all on your own, beautiful. Religion's here to create a path. That's why we have religion. I think it's important to understand religion, not just Christianity. I think that, the more we understand about each religion, from the beginning all the way through, helps us better understand why we're here. Honoring God, honoring our creation, understanding what the hell life is all about. And when you get this, your life changes. Your life changes. And you are going to want to be so sober, and you are so going to want to just dive into life. And you're going to want to be sober for every single minute of it. Every minute of it. I hope this video helps you and inspires you to really start looking on the inside. And if you want any more information, please visit my website at lesliepazak.com and get in contact with me, and we'll see how we can work together. Until then, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day and an amazing life. Take care.